When Mark Carney woke up this morning in Davos in the Swiss Alps at the World Economic Forum, before he gave his speech, he would likely have been shown this image that Donald Trump posted on his Truth Social last night. It's a picture in the Oval Office. It's a doctored picture. It's not real, of Trump sitting behind the Resolute desk, surrounded by European leaders like Keir Starmer and Vladimir Zelensky and Ursula von der Leyen. And next to them is a map showing North America all covered in the United States' Star-Spangled Banner, the U.S. flag covering Canada as well as Greenland. Now, Trump probably thought this was amusing, thought he would send it out, but it is pretty clear that this is also a message for Canada and our support for Greenland, for Denmark, and our European allies who Trump has threatened with steep tariffs, additional tariffs, if they continue to resist his demand that the United States should acquire Greenland, not just position troops there as a defensive measure, but actually own the island. Of course, it is a protectorate of Denmark, and it is up to the Greenland people to determine whether or not they would join with the United States. But there is also the threat, potentially, of military action. So when Carney goes in front of more than 60 other world leaders today at the forum in Davos to give this speech, that is the context. And he doesn't want to provoke Trump with this speech. He wants to kind of support Greenland, talk about what he's called recently a new world order. That is a sort of a reshuffling of global interests, and really talking up multilateralism, especially amongst what he calls middle power countries like Canada, saying they all have to work together in a time where what he refers to, not the United States, but he's pretty clearly talking about the U.S., referring to hegemons, that is, countries that are exerting their power and influence through military and economic might. Listen to what Carney told the World Economic Forum this morning in Davos.
On Arctic sovereignty, we stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark and fully support their unique right to determine Greenland's future.
So there is a pretty strong, firm statement on the side of Greenland. What we don't know yet is how Donald Trump is going to react to Canada now aligning itself in this way with the European nations that, as I said, he has now threatened with escalating tariffs if they don't comply with his request, his demand. And this is kind of the focus of the World Economic Forum. You know, usually this is a gathering of global leaders, certainly chief executive officers, business leaders, government officials. They all get together every year in Switzerland to kind of talk about sort of broad themes in global affairs, in finance, in technology. But this year at Davos really focused on the immediate threat to Greenland, to Denmark, and its allies. And of course, Donald Trump will be arriving there tomorrow. He is going to speak at the World Economic Forum. It's going to be a really interesting time to watch.